Hello viewers, welcome to the session on consumer in the market. In this session, we are going to study the topic consumer and consumer problems, consumer decision making and consumer aids for decision making. In modern times, a lot of efforts have been made to protect the interests of consumer by government and non-government organizations. In spite of this, the exploitation of consumers has not come to an end, and they are being fooled by business interests at all levels that their exploitation will not come to an end unless they themselves come forward to protect and promote their own interest. Consumer is the most neglected being in the present scarcity-ridden society. A business unit cannot dare to ignore its consumers if it wants to flourish. But even after a lot of acts and rules, a number of problems are suffered by the consumers. What is the definition of a consumer? Any individual who purchases products or services for his personal use and not for manufacturing or resale is called a consumer. Now, what are the problems faced by consumers? The major problems faced by consumers are lack of information. The customers even do not know the sources of getting information. Very often, consumers do not get proper information and timely information. The information may be about the arrival of new product or service, availability of a product, changes in the existing product, etc. In the absence of information, consumers may not be able to make proper decisions of purchasing product or services. The second problem that is faced by consumers is malpractices by suppliers. Malpractices by suppliers create serious problems for consumers. Suppliers engaged in antisocial activities like black marketing, hoarding, profiteering, etc. spoil the relations between the buyer and seller. The third problem is irregular supply. One of the common problems faced by consumers is an irregular supply of goods. This is because shortage of goods, the organizations create artificial scarcity of necessary goods by hoarding these goods, resulting in high prices. Consumer faces the problem of irregular supply. Not heard properly. What is that? Consumers often feel that they are not heard properly. Their complaints, grievances, and doubts are not carefully attended to and not promptly redressed or clarified by suppliers of goods and providers of services. The other problem is faulty weights and measures. Consumers in this world are cheated by traders and others with false weight and measures. The customers are cheated with the false weights and measures in an unorganized market. Even in the organized markets such as shopping malls, customers are cheated with the wrong weights pasted on the packets. Poor after sales service. This is another problem faced by the consumers. Consumer in this world after sales service is very poor. Even the multinational corporations in this world do not provide effective after sales service in the case of office equipment and consumer durables. Customers have to give constant reminders for after sales service. At many times, customers have to get the equipment repaired or serviced by third party even during the service contract period due to poor after sales service. The Other problem that is faced by consumers in the market is problem of duplicate goods. Consumer in this world, the customers face a major problem of duplicate goods. Unethical producers, they duplicate popular brand names and thereby customers get cheated. Even products like medicines are duplicated by illegal producers. The other problem is problem of delivery of goods. Customers also face the problem of delivery of goods. There are cases where customers have to book in advance certain products and they are promised a specific delivery date. However, in spite of repeated reminders, they do not get delivery of goods on time. Unethical advertising. This is another problem. Many businessmen resort to unethical practices in advertising. They make false claims about the benefits of the product. They do not disclose true information. Consumers fall prey for such practices and get cheated. The next problem is no proper return for money. Many a time, consumer feels that they do not get proper returns for the price they have paid to buy the products. This may be due to inferior quality, less durability, adulteration, unsatisfactory packing, etc. Health and safety hazards, another problem. Many a time, customers face problems of health hazards when they buy goods in the shops. For instance, shopkeepers sell products even after the expiry date. Fruit vendors use chemicals to ripen the fruits faster. Manufacturers use inferior quality of materials to keep the prices low, and so on. The next problem that a consumer faces is illiteracy. Most of the consumers in urban and remote areas are illiterate and they are not able to understand the policies of the organization or the government. Even they do not understand uses or misuses of products. The next one is no fair return. The customer, though pay high price for the goods, they do not get satisfaction from the goods they have purchased. Exploitation. The consumers in Indian market are exploited by the sellers. Sellers create artificial scarcity, hoarding, black marketing, high prices, etc. Adulteration, another problem. Most of the times, consumers, even after paying high price, do not get pure or quality goods. The organization usually supplies adulterated goods for their profit maximization. Attractive packing. The packed goods supplied in the market are not up to the mark. The packing is very attractive and it attracts the attention of consumers. The packet may contain inferior goods, thereby fooling consumers. The other thing that we are going to study in today's session is consumer decision making. When a consumer has to decide on a purchase, goes through several stages before purchasing a product or service as mentioned. This decision making process helps them in making informed purchases. Need leads to information gathering or information search. This leads to evaluation of alternatives, leading to purchase of product or purchase of service, which results in post-purchase evaluation. Factors affecting consumer decisions in the market. Personal preferences. At the personal level, consumer decisions are influenced by various shades of likes, dislikes, priorities, morals, and values. Group influences. Group influence is also seen to affect the decisions made by a consumer. The primary influential group consisting of family members, classmates, immediate relatives, and the secondary influential group consisting of neighbors and acquaintances are seen have greater influence on the purchasing decisions of a consumer. Purchasing power. What is the power of purchase? Purchasing power of a consumer plays an important role in influencing the consumer decisions. The consumers generally analyze their purchasing capacity before making a decision to buy products or services. The economic factor, another important one. This is the foundation of a purchasing decision. Consumer spending decisions are known to be greatly influenced by the economic situation prevailing in the market. The functional factor. The functional factor is perhaps the most important when it comes to special finance. A dealer must set the customer up for success and not for failure. It is much too easy to get a customer excited about a vehicle that is out of their price range and does not meet their needs. The psychological factor. All effective advertising appeals to emotion or the psychological side of the sale. The psychological factor is all about what the customer wants. For instance, having a nice car and home. Image, fear, wants and dreams are all powerful emotional forces that drive the decision to buy. Marketing campaign. Advertisement plays a greater role in influencing the purchasing decisions made by consumers. The marketing campaigns done on regular basis can influence the consumer purchasing decision to such an extent that they may opt for one brand over another or indulgent or frivolous shopping. Well, the next one is consumer decision making good buymanship. What is that? The consumer purchases everything from daily shopping for vegetables, milk and other foods to an occasional purchase such as a refrigerator. How he buys them shows his buymanship qualities are reflected. The consumer's basic desire when they purchase goods is quality goods and services at reasonable prices, safety in the use of goods, prompt and easy after sales service, genuine warranties and guarantees. Here are a few guidelines to ensure good buymanship or wise buying. Wise buying takes time, which pays good dividends as savings, increased satisfaction, goods which are needed. Let us now look at some of the guidelines for wise purchase, wise shopping. What to buy, when to buy, how to buy, how much to buy, where to buy, how much to pay. Well, let us first look at what to buy. This involves selection of items that will satisfy a want or wants of a family. The consumer should have adequate information about the items wanted. He needs to obtain this information by himself. 3 ways by which information can be obtained are inspection, testing, trial. When sufficient information is still not available, we can get information from market agencies, advertisements, labels, pamphlets, catalogs, and salespersons which determine what you need. Decide on the quantity to buy. Go to the relevant place. Evaluate the products. Buy perishables, preferably in season. Non-perishable items to be purchased in adequate quantity. Look for certification marks. Beware of some of the misguiding sellers, unscrupulous retailers. not to pay more than the MRP or maximum retail price. Evaluate the products, display of correct prices, imitation goods and items. Read labels carefully. When to buy? It involves deciding the most convenient time to buy. Can buy the goods when needed if the future needs are not certain. Adequate and convenient market facilities. Dependable information on stock. Adequate and proper storage facilities at home. Can buy the goods in advance if the future needs are certain. Purchase can be made conveniently. There is a tendency for a rise in prices. Present quality is better than future expected quality. Adequate store space. Offer of reduced rates. Possibility of increased expenditure in future. Seasonal goods. Seasonal demand. For example, air conditioners in summer, they cost more in season. Seasonal supply, for instance, fruits, vegetables available only during that period. New goods or older models. Now let us look at how to buy. See for a number of ways to buy, like cash purchase, credit cards, installment buying, hire purchase, mortgage purchase, mail buying, telemarketing, and online marketing. How much to buy? It requires answers to the following questions. How much to buy? How much the family needs? How much money can the family afford? How long will the commodity last? How much the family can save by buying in bulk? What ways or extravagances may occur by making a large quantity available to the family? Is it more convenient to buy the article as needed? Where to buy? Variety of marketing facilities available. Stores are classified based on their organization. Well, for example, general, specialty, departmental. Most important classification is based on service provided by them. Full service stores, middle class stores, low service stores. How much to pay? This requires answers to some of the questions. How much the article is worth to them? The extent of satisfaction they can obtain from the article. The less acceptable qualities in similar use articles. Number of uses that the article can be put to. Durability of the article and its service period. Now let us study consumer aids for decision making. What helps a consumer in making the decision? Labels and standards are important aids for consumer decision making process. A label, as distinct from signage, is a piece of paper, polymer, cloth, metal, or other material affixed to a container or product on which is written or printed information about the product. Information printed directly on a container or article can also be considered labeling. Product labels describe a product as well as help it to stand out from competitors on the shelf. Label becomes helpful to sellers to sell out the product. It protects the customers from malpractices of the middlemen. Labeling is very important element affecting sales and distribution process of a product, which provides clear information about the grade, quantity, price, brand name, features, etc. to the customers. A label helps a consumer in several ways. They are: labeling identifies the product. It grades the product. Labeling describes the product. Labeling promotes the product. It protects the customers. Let us now study standard marks. What are they? A standard mark on a commercial product indicates the existence of a product certification agreement between the manufacturer of a product and an organization with national accreditation for both testing and certification. A certification mark provides evidence that the product conforms to a nationally accredited standard. There are many certification marks available for different products, applications, programs, and markets. ISI mark. ISI mark is a certification mark for industrial products in India. The mark certifies that a product conforms to the Indian standard mentioned as IS on top of the mark, developed by the Bureau of Indian Standards, the national standards body of India. The ISI mark is mandatory for certain products to be sold in India, like many of the electrical appliances, switches, electric motors, wiring cables, heaters, kitchen appliances, etc., and other products like Portland cement, LPG valves, LPG cylinders, automotive tires. But in the case of most other products, it is voluntary. Let us now study FPO mark. The FPO mark is a certification mark mandatory on all processed fruit products sold in India, such as packaged fruit beverages, fruit jams, crushes and squashes, pickles, dehydrated fruit products, and fruit extracts, following the Food Safety and Standards Act of 2006. Let us now study AGMARK. What is this? This is a certification mark employed on agricultural products in India, assuring that they conform to a set of standards approved by the Directorate of Marketing and Inspection, an agency of the Government of India. The present AGMARK standards cover quality guidelines for 205 different commodities spanning a variety of pulses, cereals, essential oils, vegetable oils, fruits and vegetables, and semi-processed products like vermicelli. The non-polluting vehicle mark. What is this? This is a mandatory certification mark required on all new motor vehicles sold in India. The mark certifies that the motor vehicle conforms to the relevant version of the Bharat Stage Emission Standards. This certification for a brand new vehicle has a limited validity of 2 years from the date of sale of the vehicle. BIS hallmark. What is this hallmark? Well, this is a hallmarking system for gold as well as silver jewelry sold in India, certifying to the purity of the metal. It certifies that the piece of jewelry conforms to a set of standards laid by the Bureau of Indian Standards, the National Standards Organization of India. The BIS system of hallmarking of gold jewelry began on April 2000. India Organic. This is a certification mark for organically formed food products manufactured in India. The certification mark certifies that an organic food product conforms to the national standards for organic products established in 2000. Those standards ensures that the product or the raw materials used in the product were grown through organic farming without the use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, or induced hormones. EcoMark or EcoMark. This is a certification mark issued by the Bureau of Indian Standards, the National Standards Organization of India, to products conforming to a set of standards aimed at the least impact on the ecosystem. The 16 product categories to be covered under the scheme of EcoMark are soaps and detergents, paints, paper, food items, food additives, and preservatives, wood substances, textiles, batteries, lubricating oil, packaging plastics, aerosols, cosmetics, pesticides and drugs, electronic goods, vegetable oils. Well, let us also study some other marks. These are mandatory marks or labels required by the law in India, but they are not exactly certification marks. These are actually vegetarian, non-vegetarian mark. Packaged food products sold in India are required to be labeled with a mandatory mark in order to be distinguished between vegetarian and non-vegetarian. According to the law, vegetarian food should be identified by a green symbol and non-vegetarian food with a brown symbol. Non-statutory marks. There are other non-statutory certification marks or schemes in India which are promoted by the Government of India by policy or through governmental or semi-governmental agencies. But these certifications bear no legal status in the nation and are purely promotional in nature. Silk mark. Silk mark is a certification mark in India for silk textiles. The mark certifies that the piece of textile which bears the mark is made of pure natural silk. The certification is managed by the Silk Mark Organization of India, a society set up by the state-controlled Central Silk Board of India. Handloom mark. A hallmark of powerful creative work that defines the product with clarity, distinguishing it from competition and connecting it with customers. The mark is in two forms. One for domestic use, the word handloom is written beneath the logo, and the other for international marketing, same logo with the word handwoven in India written beneath it. Let us now look at some of the consumer rights and consumer responsibilities. The Government of India, through the Consumer Protection Act of 1986, has ensured the rights of consumers. They are right to safety, right to be informed, right to choose, right to be heard, right to seek redressal, right to consumer education, right to satisfaction of basic needs, right to a healthy environment. But there is a well-known saying that there cannot be rights without responsibilities, specifically the responsibilities of consumers, which are essential for good buymanship. The first one in the responsibilities is critical awareness. To be more alert and questioning about the price and quality of goods and services we use is critical awareness. Action. To assert and act to ensure that we get a fair deal. Social concern. To be aware of impact of our consumption on other citizens, especially disadvantaged or powerless groups. Environmental awareness. To understand the environmental consequences of our consumption, to conserve natural resources and protect the earth for future generations. Solidarity. To organize together as consumers to develop the strength and influence to promote and protect consumer interests. Well, so far we have seen consumer as a very important component of society, and business is dependent on consumer. In this age of capitalism and globalization, the main objective of each producer is to maximize his profit. In each and every possible way, the producers are trying to increase the sale of their products. Therefore, in fulfillment of their aim, they forget the interests of consumers and start exploiting them. For example, overcharging, underweighing, selling of adulterated and poor quality goods, misleading the consumers by giving false advertisement, etc. Thus, in order to save himself from being cheated, it is necessary for a consumer to be aware of his rights and duties and use consumer aids while buying. Well, we have so far seen consumer in the market, various problems faced by the consumers in buying products, what are the rights of consumers, how to choose different products, how to be wise in shopping, how to learn good buymanship in the market. I hope all the factors that we have discussed so far have been resourceful to all of you. Thank you for watching.